Hello, everybody, fellow travelers. Welcome to Red Wolf Travel Talks with Phil. I just wanted to say I hope everybody had an awesome July 4th weekend celebrating America's 250th birthday. I just wanted to come on and start off this series. This is the first video that I'm putting together in a series of these videos to discuss some common themes that I see in travel that I think will help the general consumer. Today's topic is going to be about the 7 things that people need to know before they book a European vacation. Okay? So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Item 1. So, I think a lot of people try to see too much right off the bat. I can't tell you how many requests I get on a daily basis or even a weekly basis where folks will say, oh, we really want to do Greece and Italy, and we'd like to do Portugal if we have time. And I'll ask them prompting questions, and, one of the first is, okay, 1, what's your budget? 2, how much time do you have? And they'll tell me, usually, I'm telling you, this happens at least once every couple weeks. They'll say, oh, we've got about 9 days. Well, let me tell you something. You do not want to be country hopping 3 times in 3 days, right? You don't want to do, 3 times in 9 days, but, one country like Greece, 3 days, that's just not enough time. 3 days in Portugal, not enough time. 3 days in Italy, definitely not enough time. So that's one of those things where it really helps to have the guidance of a travel advisor to tell you, look, we need to replan this. We need to make a better route for you. So that's one thing that I see a lot of. And then another thing that I see constantly is, for item 2, folks choosing the wrong airport. Sometimes they'll fly into a major international airport when a regional is available that will, just cut off significant amount of time. Yes, it may cost a little more in the long run, but if you're able to get to your destination right away or with minimal travel time, minimal delays, sometimes that works out in your favor. The opposite is also true. Sometimes you can save a lot of money by going to the bigger international airport, taking the train, renting a car, and just making a better situation of your available options. Number 3 would be grossly underestimating your travel days. So, delays, baggage issues, there's so many different things that can happen during your travel days. And I frequently see people try to pack in, oh, we're going to try and do this tour in the morning, or we really want to go to see XYZ in the afternoon, but we're getting in at this time. And this is especially true of cruises, right? So when folks want to, take a cruise, obviously there's a boarding time that you have to meet or you're not sailing. And I always recommend coming in the night before. People try to cut it too close. I've seen, thankfully, none with me, because I've given, I feel like, a lot of direction and guidance in our agency and the other travel agents that work with us. And we just haven't, knock on wood, had that happen. But I do see that a fair amount, and I have seen a number of other advisors in my network of folks just complaining about, oh, there's been situations where the customer elected to do this, and unfortunately they missed their cruise. And the same is true with land destinations. You can easily overload yourself and then miss significant tours that you've paid for. You just don't want to run into that. So you just got to give yourself enough time. I always say if you can add it on, like if you're there and you know that it's going to work out, then sure, add it. Do that then. Keep it simple. You don't want to overload yourself, and that's a great rule of thumb. 4, So I would say waiting too long to book. Waiting too long to book can really hurt you in terms of pricing. It can hurt you in terms of availability, uh, and even your room types. So some, especially again with European cruises or river cruises, you may want a certain room. You may want a veranda room. You may want, a room, one of the suites on the corner or something. And if you don't book early enough, the availability is not going to be there. You might not get that room. So that's definitely something that you need to consider. And again, pricing flights. But again, Red Wolf Travel will help you with all of that. Um, Number 5. This is a big one. So ignoring local customs, or just not paying enough attention. So don't go into Europe thinking that you're going to tip 20% like America or Americans normally do. That's just not common practice over there, and you're giving away money. I mean, sure, look, if you want to be generous, be generous. I'm not here to tell you, not to follow your conscience or to reward great service or something, but it's just not done there. I mean, 5 to 10%, generally speaking, if you're providing a tip, is ample uh, and expected. So, and most don't even expect it, to be honest with you. Um, so that's just one area that I see people, spending more money than they necessarily would have to or are expected to. Another thing is not realizing that some European countries, Greece for example, will charge you to use the toilet. I remember we went on a tour of Ia in Santorini, and there were some bathrooms down there, €2, like just to go in. I mean, they didn't care what you were doing. Two to enter, and you're free to leave. And they had attendants in there, and it was fine. Bathrooms are clean and everything, but that is just a charge that you do not typically see in America. Um, and then let's see, I would say another thing that you might not think about would be rental cars, right? So, in a lot of European cities, a lot of European countries, you don't need a rental car. Like if you're doing Amsterdam, you're doing Rome, you're doing um, London, I mean Paris, bigger cities, things like that. Like, why are you getting a rental car? Their transportation is so advanced. Their metro is so advanced. Their high-speed trains in some countries. Why? Why would you do that? That's just an added cost that you don't need. Again, any travel advisor worth their salt is going to tell you, hey, this is where you're going. This is your itinerary. You don't need that. Red Wolf Travel certainly will as well. So that's just another thing. And then probably number 7, which is a nice transition right into that, is booking without a travel agent. So I just constantly see people that are going on trips, and look, get out there and see the world. I love that. My wanderlust is terrible. But when I say terrible, I mean amazing, because getting around the world, seeing the world, it's one of the greatest passions of my life. Hence why I started this agency. And I love every single trip that I get to go on, and the places I get to experience. And my favorite part about travel is that it fundamentally changes who you are. You can never come back the same person. You can't unsee what you just saw. So obviously that can be good and bad depending on the experience. And if you use someone that doesn't know what they're doing, or if you unfortunately go it alone and you run into issues, I mean, you can turn a very expensive, what was supposed to be a wonderful vacation, into a real show of sorts, if you know what I mean. And you just don't want to be in that position. Package pricing, travel agents, our suppliers, our network, we tend to get some really good pricing and discounts on fares. So it's you just have to. It's not in most cases, right? So when you're booking a vacation, we work for the commission. So you're not even paying the commission uh, out of your funds for the trip. Like, you're not, the supplier just gives us the commission. But here's the thing: if you go direct, they're not going to compensate you back the commission that they paid us. Like, going direct, they're not going to cut you a deal. So I like to say this is win-win-win, because we bring the suppliers the business, like the cruise lines. We bring them the business. We bring the land suppliers the business. Package tour companies, we bring them the business. You get awesome planning, advice, trips, someone to be there and guide you. We're not a 1-800 number. Every single customer gets my cell phone. You can call me anytime, day or night. I've had that happen plenty. Even recently, it happens. I had somebody that unfortunately had some family issues where their uncle was terminally ill, and they needed to get off of a ship and get back to the U.S. very, very quickly. And they, I had to help them get their vehicle out of a secured lot that wasn't staffed properly, or didn't have people working, 24/7 hours. So that's just one of many things that happens. I helped another lady who had an issue a couple years ago. She broke her leg on a ship, and she had to be medevaced home. And you don't know how to navigate those things if you're not familiar with this, if you don't deal with these situations on a daily basis. So that's a reason why you have experts in every space. It doesn't typically cost you anything. The only time that we charge planning fees are on ad hoc, highly customized vacations or itineraries where there's a ton of different stops. You'll know in advance, though. We would have already discussed that with you. You would know what the planning fee was going to be up front. So it happens, but generally speaking, the commission pays us, and you get a great vacation. And then obviously we win because we're getting paid for the work. So those are just my 7 travel tips, and the 7 common mistakes that I see folks making when they're planning European vacations. More to come in this series. This has been really fun, and I'm glad I'm doing this. And if you have any questions, or if you have content or anything that you want to see in a future webinar, please just comment, like, subscribe, let me know. I would love to answer your questions. And thank you so much for joining me today. And I hope you have a great rest of your day, your week, and your summer. Take care. Safe travels.